Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for catching the recording of our event tonight. We are so thankful that you took the time to watch and listen in to our stories. We are passionate about sharing this information and sharing our own experiences because each of us were in a very desperate place in different ways before we found Plexus and these all natural supplements that have helped us on some of us in expected ways, but all of us in unexpected ways. And you're going to hear about some of that tonight. And we're going to do our best to keep it short so that you can hear a little bit from all of us. But our lives have each been changed because of giving our bodies the things that it needed that we could not get from diet and exercise alone. So the first people that I'm going to introduce tonight are going to be my parents. And this is Freed and Betty Ware, and they are wonderful parents, and I'm so thankful for them. But honestly, they were two of the hardest people in my life to try to get to use Plexus on a regular basis. They were they supported me. They saw the difference that it made in my health, and they're like, Julie, that's great for you. But getting them to take it consistently took a while. But once we did, I'm going to let them share about each of their own personal journeys with the products after using them consistently. So Daddy, why don't you start for us?
Okay, let me be sure I get the right statement and say the right things. Well, my name is Freed Ware. I am 71 years old, and about a little over 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and went to the doctor and got all this treatment stuff started to take radiation or have surgery. And we had decided to have surgery and start all that in that direction. But at the same time, I started having some pain in my lower back and in my groin area and in my leg, in the top part of my legs. And it really scared me because my dad died with prostate cancer, and the symptoms that I was having were the same symptoms that my dad had after his cancer had progressed. And so it really put a fear in me. So I went to call my doctor and told her, I said, you got to see me. Something bad's wrong. And so I went, and they turned me every way but loose and come to the conclusion that it was not my prostate that was giving me so much trouble, that I had neuropathy. And I told him, I said, there's nothing wrong with my feet. And that's about the time the doctor told me, you can have neuropathy anywhere. Well, I didn't know that. And so she didn't give me a pill, didn't give me anything, just sent me back home like I was. Well, when I got back home, Julie and Betty had been talking to me, my wife, about taking nerve. And all I hear was nerve. I was so aggravated about hearing nerve. I said, I don't need a vitamin. I need something to make us quit hurting. And they got on me really hard. And then Valerie from Florida called, and she got on me real hard. So I told them, I said, I'll take the crazy stuff to get y'all off my back. Just shut it up. I'll take the things. So they gave me a high dose of, I guess it was 3 or 4 pills to start with, a couple of times a day. And I took it in the morning and then at night. And then I took it the next morning. And it just came to the point where all of a sudden I just kind of realized I wasn't hurting anymore. Blew my mind. I could not accept that. But I wasn't taking anything else. I wasn't doing anything else. I was just taking those high doses of nerves. And it took the pain away. Absolutely took the pain away. I was, to say surprised would be saying the least. Flabbergasted would probably be better. And I took it very faithfully then for a while, and then started decreasing my dosage. And now I take 1 nerve a day. I have no pain in that area. Incidentally, just to let everybody know, I took proton treatments, and the last year, February, when I had my last PSA, my PSA is undetectable. And so the Lord was very, very gracious to me and let me find something that would cure the cancer, but also let me find something that would keep the pain away from me. I didn't know anything about what to do, but these girls just got after me, my wife and then Julie, and then Valerie chimed in, and really and truly, I took the stuff to get them off my back, but it worked, surprising to me. And I just thank the Lord that the Lord saw fit to use something like that. And of course, I take a lot of things now, but I'm definitely a believer in Plexus. It really has made a difference in my life. I can tell you that. And I have got 4 minutes and 25 seconds. So that's pretty good for me. I am through.
And the hardest part of that story for him was the fact that all the women in his life were right.
That's the truth. Now, I tell the lady when she checks my eyes for my glasses, I tell her, I said, you need to write this down and write this day and this time down. And she said, why is that? I said, because this is one of the few times in your life or in my life that I've ever seen eye to eye with a woman. And that's when you look through that little thing together, everybody looks through it together. Well, that's my story. I hope it helps somebody and convinces them that this works.
Thank you so much. Mama, go ahead. You share your story.
Okay, probably, I'm thinking it was 2019 when I started on Plexus. And I too was kind of skeptical of this whole thing. The problem with old age, though, getting old, I'll be 72 in about 5 weeks, is that you always start having some health issues as you get older. And so, of course, I had COVID in 2020 and had pneumonia with it and really a high fever for several days. And I believe the reason that I was able to stay home and not have to be put in the hospital was because I've been on Plexus for over a year. And I think that made a difference with me at that time in my health. But another thing that that's developed with me is my blood sugar has become
Erratic.
well, it's up and down. Some days it's high, some days it's low. And it's not real high. It's kind of borderline as far as being a diabetic. But at the same time, they keep saying, this pink drink, the Slim, just take it and it levels out your blood sugar. And I'm thinking, I don't know if this really works or not. So I thought one day, okay, I'm going to test this. I got up and my blood sugar, I tested it and it was 140. And which is not real high, but it's higher than it's supposed to be.
Yes.
And so I said, I hadn't eaten anything. So I took the pink drink, I drank it, and I waited 2 hours, didn't eat anything. And then I checked my blood sugar again, and it was down to 118. So I knew from that it was helping keep my blood sugar leveled out. And so I'm very thankful for that, because I do not want to be a diabetic, that's for sure. And then I've had my family, especially my mother's family, was known for having a lot of stomach issues. I was diagnosed one time with IBS, the irritable bowel syndrome, because it's like when I would eat, a little while after I'd eat, I'd have terrible pain in my abdomen. And so I'd tried different medications and stuff, and it really just didn't help. But since I've been on the triplex and on the probiotic, I don't have that issue anymore. But I can tell you this, if I run out of the probiotic, within a week, I'm having issues again. So probiotic has been a big blessing to me on that. And the bio cleanse, well, the three, the pink drink or the Slim, the probio and the bio cleanse working together, which I take every day. I went to the doctor and they did blood work on me. And I was also, my mom was known for having real high cholesterol because her liver produced too much. So it's kind of a genetic thing. So mine, every time it's checked before, it was about 200. But after I've been on Plexus for a while, when I had my blood work done, it was down to 160. And that's the lowest it's been in years.
I don't remember.
So that was a real blessing on that. And another thing I've always had was Uh, the restless leg syndrome, I had that well, even when I was a teenager. And as I got on up in years, especially if I ride a long distance and my legs are hanging down, they drive me nuts. I don't know if you've ever had restless leg syndrome, but it's just like you can't keep your legs still. You have to keep them moving. And of course, if you prop them up, that helps. But with this, with taking the nerve, it has really helped me with a restless leg. And I also been diagnosed with vein disease in my legs. I've got poor circulation, so it has really helped me with that also. So it has been a real blessing in a lot of ways on that. So I know that a lot of people, just like we were, because it takes a sacrifice, but is your health worth it? You know, especially as you get a little bit older. If you're young, and I was talking to a man in church this week, and he's having some issues, a pastor, and he's only 32 years old. And I told him it'd be a lot better if he started taking something now, like the Plexus products, and help prevent a lot of this stuff that's just going to hit him harder later as he gets age on him. So I appreciate you listening in to us, and I hope we're a blessing and a help to somebody else, because I know that it works. I mean, if you believe and take what we say, I know that it works. So that's the end of my story.
Thank you very much for sharing. And I know that it's going to make a lot of difference for a lot of people. And that's one of the reasons why we did this event, was to show the different age groups that Plexus can help. And the reason for that is because, you know, maybe you're thinking, okay, Julie, we've seen your post, or my friend who invited me or sent me this video, I've seen her talk about how it's helped her with this and how this person has been helped with that, and all these different people and all these different symptoms. How in the world can the same products help, you know, Mr. Ware and Mrs. Ware, but also help Julie, and also help Levi that you're about to hear from, and also help Jace here that is with me tonight, because we're going to share his story. How in the world can these products make that much of an impact on these people who are so different and have such different symptoms? Well, the reason is because it's all at the root, and the root is our gut. So many of the symptoms that they're talking about, they had no idea, and I didn't either, that these symptoms were connected to poor gut health. I had no idea that if I addressed in my gut health, that so many things would resolve themselves. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit further into our time tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce Levi. Levi here, we would consider him middle age. Maybe he's a little bit younger than that, but pretty close. He'll share his age. But the reason why we wanted to hear from him, he is a pastor, and he is a busy man, hardworking. But you'll hear from his story how the fact that his health held him back to where he could not minister, he could not care for his family like he needed to. And there are people that are listening to this right now, or people that you know that are in that same position, who are hopeless, but we're here to share with you that there is hope. Levi, go ahead.
All right, I am Levi Nix. I'm the pastor of Temple Missionary Baptist Church in Gainesville, Georgia. My wife has been a Plexus ambassador for over 7 years now. I think we've been taking the products for just shy 8 years. And it was definitely a hidden blessing in disguise for us. As I was rounding out my 20s, I began to be rudely awakened by a few things, not only a slowing metabolism that everybody kind of gets that shock by, but I had not been nice or pleasant to my body. I'm a more hands-on kind of individual. I'd worked through my high school and college years in everything from concrete and demolition to distribution power service. Also sports-related injuries. I'm a runner by nature, track athlete, and that had plagued me for many, many years. And because of a few underlying injuries on top of one medical condition that I really couldn't escape, I was almost debilitated. I have scoliosis. It was diagnosed in my 7th grade year, and through high school and even the early college years, I'd barely paid any attention to it. And when somebody tells you got a degree curve in your back, you just modify your jump shot, and that's all you go forward with doing and treating it. But it had gotten to the point when we were married, and then I was bivocational still at that time as a public school teacher. And then also by hobby farming is what we call it. It's a lot of work. But then also I was children's pastor at our home church. I've not been there many years, but that's where I started at. And so we were running continually, and we had 2 toddlers and unders, 2 little boys, and one on the way when I first accepted my pastorate. And I was absolutely miserable. I call it a hidden miserable. That scoliosis had left me completely fatigued because I was not sleeping at night at all. When my back would ease up, it would throw it in severe cramps and spasms that would literally throw me into the floor off the bed. I mean, if you've ever experienced a back cramp like that, you feel sympathy now. But that's what I would experience. And so I'd have to sit upright on the side of our couch. I had no marriage. I had no family. I had no interactions with my family. I'd go to work and I'd work diligently all day. I'd work for the church all day. And then when I got home, I would collapse in a recliner because I was utterly exhausted. And that's when my wife began Plexus products and began kind of changing our minds about health and especially about gut health. And we started on the triplex, which immediately I began to feel an influence in my blood sugar. I wasn't drinking as much coffee. I was not requiring as many, did not any energy drinks or anything like that. I didn't do those, but I wasn't requiring as much caffeine. And so I instantly felt the difference. And she said they have one little product that we have not tried yet, and it's Ease, and it's supposed to help with inflammation. And that is all that brochure said. She said, would you be willing to take it? And I said, absolutely. And so I started off on just 1 Ease a day. I did no loading dose. I did nothing. And bear in mind, at this time, we were spending hundreds of dollars every month in chiropractic bills. I was going to the chiropractor sometimes 2 and 3 times a week. And I knew we were going to have to change something when the electrode stimulus that they were doing to loosen my back muscles from the scoliosis. The doctor one day said, let me know when this is all you can take. And I said, you can keep going. And he said, that's all there is. And so I'm like, I've got no other options other than face, surgeries or things like that. And so that really wasn't an option. Well, I took 1 pill and instantly I felt the difference the first day. My back wasn't as stiff. By the next week, I was sleeping back in my bed at night. And so that, to say that's not been life-changing, it definitely has for us. And so I support the triplex. I support Ease. Didn't realize it would help so much more with gut health. And I know Julie's going to speak a little bit about Vital Biome and things like that, but I'm a huge proponent of Vital Biome as well. I take that every day for mental clarity, which is something I need. Not only for members, their stories, counseling, preaching, being constantly on demand for my mind being sharp and acute. And those sort of products have helped me tremendously and helped our family tremendously. We would not be where we are today had it not been for the Lord. And using this not only as a support for our family, but also for support for me in ministry. This probably 18 months ago now, October of 2021, I actually entered the ministry for the first time full time. And so it's been an added benefit and blessing for us.
Thank you so much. That is just incredible. And the reason why the Ease was so effective in addressing his gut health was so effective in helping with his pain issues because he had so much inflammation going on. Now, did it heal his scoliosis? No. But what happens is when you have an overgrowth of candida, that bad yeast in your gut, it produces a ton of inflammation. And the thing is that we're like, well, okay, I have candida. Well, the thing is that you feed your candida, I can guarantee you, way more than you feed your good bacteria. And the reason why is because candida thrives on sugar, it thrives on stress, it thrives on processed foods and environmental toxins. So if you have a candle in your house right now from Bath and Body Works, for example, and it has that beautiful smell, there's toxins in that. For example, your laundry detergents, toxins. If you eat food out of a box, you most likely are eating processed foods. Okay. And we're not even going to talk about stress. I mean, hello. I feel like we have been on a roller coaster of stress 10 times more than usual since 2020. Okay. And then sugar. Sugar is in everything. And if you have sugar cravings, the reason why is because that candida in your gut is wanting to be fed even more. I always thought that I just had poor character, that I had the sweet tooth, that is just like the Southern woman way. Well, no, it isn't. It's the candida in my gut saying, feed me more so I can continue to grow. Because once I addressed my gut health, guess what started to completely change? My sugar cravings. And so as Levi addressed his gut health by using our probiotic, and the reason why our probiotic is different is the only one on the market that has an antifungal. What does that mean? That means that it's not only putting in those amazing good bacteria into your stomach that you need, but it's also killing the bad, not just putting good in. Ours is the only one on the market that does. It's patented. So that means if I'm wanting to win a war, should I just be constantly sending, good guys over there? Or should my goal to be kill the bad guys and then have more good guys than bad guys? Well, see, that's how it works, is that our probiotic goes and kills those bad guys and puts good guys in. The pink drink that you keep hearing about, it has good food for the good bacteria. So it's like Miracle Grow for the good bacteria. So it's helping decrease the inflammation that he's having in his back, these spasms and things that he's having. That's why he was getting so much relief. And I also believe that's why he was so sensitive to the E's. I have autoimmune disease. I take E's every day of my life for my joint pain, and I take 4 a day because of how much inflammation I deal with on a regular basis. So addressing your gut health reduces your inflammation. Before I got started on Plexus, I did it for my pain, but I had no idea that it would take care of my plantar fasciitis. I had no idea that the reason why I was waking up 4 and 5 times a night was because my blood sugar was crashing. So I'm drinking this pink drink thinking I'm going to have more energy, and I did, but I'm also sleeping better through the night. And I'm the reason why our family started Plexus, just like Levi was the reason why his family started Plexus. I'm the reason because of my health. And I have my son Jace here with me. He's my number 2 in the family. I have an older son and a younger daughter. And I found Plexus, and it made such a huge difference, gave me my quality of life back. My husband was having to cook all the meals, clean the house, take care of the boys. When I started, Jace was 3 years old. And at that time, he was a very busy 3-year-old, which was very normal, right? Busy 3-year-old. He says he can't remember. I remember clearly. I was very tired. Very busy. Well, I just thought that, it was just one of those things where he's just all boy and he'll just kind of settle out as he gets older. Well, the issue is that 4 came and then 5 came, and it was time for him to start kindergarten. And it was in kindergarten when we discovered that Jace had a really, really hard time sitting still. And then it wasn't just sitting still. He had a really hard time focusing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And we remember how hard some of those days were, though, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. There were many tears. And at this point, I had been on Plexus for about 3 years and had seen amazing results. And my oldest, who has severe allergies and food intolerances, he had been on Plexus and had seen so much improvement. But my Jace face, he has, which is what we call him, our Jace face, he has ADHD, and he has it severely. And we tried all the things, including he is careful what he eats. So, for example, what's one thing that you can't have?
I can't have
Red
40.
That's right. Red 40 is something that really alters his personality. And if you don't ever read the labels on your box and you have little ones or you have grandchildren who have focus issues and hyperactivity issues, I can guarantee you that if they are consuming Red 40,
They have ADHD.
yeah, well, it definitely affects them. Even if they don't have ADHD, it definitely affects them. But I was to the point where we were about to take him to the doctor to get him put on medication. And I had cried many a tears, which I didn't let him see. But I did, praying and asking the Lord for solutions. And a friend of mine posted an article that had nothing to do with Plexus, but had to do with ADHD in boys, and how one of the primary reasons why a lot of boys have ADHD is because of the lack of fatty acids in their brain, and how their brain is literally starving. Used to, you could find fatty acids more in your diet, but as you guys know, our diet now, the foods and even fruits and vegetables that we grow now, It would take you eating 8 apples now to get the nutrients that you would have 50 years ago from an apple. Okay, so we're not getting the quality food that we once were. And so that is one of the things that's truly impacting our little boys. And the reason why it's more in boys than girls, ADHD and ADD, is because estrogen has those fatty acids in it. And so girls have more estrogen, so they don't struggle with it as many, or I should say as often as boys do. Not saying that they don't have it, because there's a lot of girls that do. But I saw that and I thought of our Mega X product. And this is our Omegas product, and this is Jace's best friend. And he takes how many a day?
4.
He takes 4 a day, and he is very faithful to do so, because if we go more than a week without it, what happens?
I bounce off walls.
And how does his school go if you go a week without it? Not very good. Yeah. And so literally in 7 days, we could tell. Now I started with 1 and it didn't make a big enough impact. Then we went to 2, did not make a difference, but I upped it to 4. And within 7 days, he was like a different kid. And I don't say that in the way that he was bad, because he wanted to do well, but he would literally not sit down all day. I mean, he would literally play until he was yawning his head off, walking around like a little zombie child. Like, he would not be still. And so when he finally did, he would just pass out, and go to sleep and sleep hard, but then he still woke up like he was tired, so he wasn't resting good. So our Omegas product has all 5 Omegas, but the reason why that he can take 4 and we don't have to worry about fishy burps and we don't have to worry about mercury is because our Omega products are plant-based. Okay, so the fish oil that you think of, this is the food that the fish eat to get the omegas. So ours are plant-based, so it's completely safe to take it in higher doses for that. So if you know someone who has ADHD and ADD, or if you have trouble sleeping, what our Mega X does and Omegas do is it literally relaxes the brain. So it relaxes his brain so that he can control it way better than when he doesn't have those products. And for those of us who maybe don't have ADD or ADHD, it relaxes our brain at night so that we can sleep deeper and get better restful sleep. So I know that we have taken up a good chunk of your time, and we do not want to take up any more time, but whoever sent you this link has more information that we can share. Like, for example, symptoms of poor gut health. Y'all, the list is huge. And the connection that has by addressing our gut health and the difference that it's made in each of our health, there's a reason why that works. And there's a reason why, it does is, even though we have all these different symptoms, the root is our gut. Well, how do we know? Well, because I'm genetically made up differently, even from my parents. My mom had these symptoms. She had high cholesterol. She had restless leg syndrome. She had IBS. I had none of those things, but my gut health symptoms demonstrated themselves in a different way. I have autoimmune disease. I had major digestive issues. I had, but not IBS version. I had constipation majorly. I have hormonal imbalance. My gut health symptoms were demonstrated in that way. She took the products, I took the products, and here we are, so improved. So if you're looking for more information, you can talk to the person who invited you, or you can always reach out to us. We'd be happy to send you some more information and give you the opportunity to try these products. Plexus has a 60-day money-back guarantee. It is one of the best companies. It was actually voted the best company as far as network marketing goes. And the reason why is because our products work and the company has amazing integrity. So is there anything else that I'm missing, Ashley, before we end it? Okay. Thank you guys so much. And if you guys need anything, please feel free to reach out with any questions that you have.